This week's news for crypto has been huge. Huge. It's going to be huge. Oh, just how does Trump say it like that? Anyway, so far this week in crypto, we've had news stories such as a strategic Bitcoin reserve announcement. We've had a Bitcoin summit hosted by President Trump. We've even had President Trump tweeting about an altcoin season that's going to be so big, we're going to call it a Trump season. Wow. So I bet with all this news, you're probably wondering where the price of your altcoins are headed. In this video, I'm going to discuss Ethereum in particular and just where I think the price is going. And let me give you a hint. It's a lot though. It's a lot higher than you think. So without further ado, let's jump on into the charts. And actually before that, I just want to thank anyone who's new to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please drop a subscribe and a thumbs up. Also leave a comment. If you want to see particular content in the future, just let me know and I will drop a video for you in the future and definitely get back to you. So without further ado, let's check out Ethereum. So here we are checking out Ethereum on the charts. On the weekly time frame, we have Ethereum with this beautiful golden arch of McDonald's sending everybody back to unemployment zone. Wow, there's been a lot of sell pressure in the market for Ethereum, a lot of fear now that we've broken this weekly ascending triangle formation or symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are projecting now that we are outside of this range for essentially massive new lows on Ethereum. And let me explain why I don't think that's going to be the case. Here we have this zone here that I've highlighted around the 2K region on Ethereum. This region previously acted as major resistance, trying to break out from essentially for a year. It acted as resistance before ultimately breaking out and going to the upside and never back testing it. And that is why I think we are still in an uptrend and we are just facing kind of a large run flat correction before ultimately reclaiming and going higher. Also, the reason I think that is this zone here that we broke out from around 2K, we had this large impulsive move to the upside. We never actually came back down to test this former resistance as new support. We came very close retesting this first consolidation pocket, but we never actually back tested where we broke out from, the origin of that impulsive move. So I had this zone highlighted. This week we actually tapped that zone, which initiated a long position for us on Ethereum. Essentially now we've taken out the lows here. We've taken out these lows here. So now we have liquidity to actually create a move higher that has strength and that has buyers behind it. So the reason we needed to take out these lows is because there's a lot of resting stop losses. People essentially buy and say they're not selling until price goes below this point. So now price has gone below that point. It has hit their stop, perhaps liquidated them along the way if you were long from higher. That's why price moved down so aggressively, because we have stop losses chaining together, creating liquidations, creating mass flushes to the downside. But now that we've taken out these lows, we can essentially consolidate, form a base here before heading higher. There is potential further downside that I do want to discuss. I don't think it's all rocket ships from here. We could have our work cut out for us on Ethereum, despite all this good news from the Trump administration. So essentially, if we lose this pocket here, if we don't backtest it successfully as support and we start closing underneath it, then the next zone that becomes very crucial for us to hold is the origin of the breakout of this larger impulsive upside move, and that comes in around 1500. That would be my next target should we continue to close the weekly below this breakdown point, especially below 2K. That's when I'm going to say we're going to get capitulation. We're going to complete the McDonald's arch and we're going to head down to 1500. I don't think that's the case. I do think a reversal is going to form here.
On the daily time frame, we do have these large moves to the upside that have formed last week. So I do think with that, we could start to see divergence in the RSI form, and we could start to see a reversal here if price bases out around this 2K region, especially if we get a wick below, maybe down to like 1800, and then come back up and close above 2K. Then I would strongly start to think the reversal is in. That's what I'm looking for in the future. And where exactly is price going to go should we reverse around this 2K region? Well, briefly, I'll look at Bitcoin. With Bitcoin on the weekly about to expand from extreme lows in volatility, about to hit this RSI trend line that it typically finds as support. If we bounce off here, if weekly volatility expands and we get the reversal in, that ultimately is what's going to drive this altcoin season, because it'll push Bitcoin towards its former highs, perhaps forming a lower high. And that, on every single cycle, has been when we got our alt season, when Bitcoin essentially puts in its top, attempts to break that top, and fails to do so. So it comes back up, forms a lower high, and then rolls over. This lower high that Bitcoin is going to go for essentially is when you will get your altcoin season. It is when Ethereum, XRP, Solana, ADA, all those assets that Trump listed are going to space shuttle you to the moon. And just how high can they go in an instance like this? Well, ultimately, I think Ethereum, because it hasn't even set a new all-time high, you essentially could see a move much farther past that should we get an impulsive break. So any move from current price action is at least a 100% gain from here, which is insane. And I do think once we get the reversal confirmation, once we get some sort of divergence in RSI, I do think the next move is going to be quite impulsive. And what I mean by that is it's going to look very similar in structure than this move we got here. It's going to be quite aggressive and quite steep to the upside with relatively no sign of slowing down until we at least test the former all-time high. Then we could see some sort of consolidation around the high before heading to new highs from there. Such things you could use to see where price is going from here would be something like a Fibonacci extension from the former all-time high to the lows. Bring your extension all the way over to current price action. As you can see, we rejected from the 786, which wasn't a good sign, and that's why we sold off so hard. But should we reclaim these fib levels and head higher, we can look at such levels as a 618, which is around $7,000 for Ethereum. So should we get a strong reversal and get our altcoin season from these levels, that's a roughly 225% gain from here. Do I think Ethereum can hit that? Absolutely, I can. If we get this crazy altcoin season that Trump is insinuating, we could easily get targets a lot higher than we think. That's just the first fib extension target. Should we break new all-time highs, I think that the 618 fib extension target is almost a guarantee. But like I said, the price of Ethereum has a lot of work to do before it gets to that point. So we play it day by day. We trade it day by day. We go to lower turn time frames to kind of see what we can make out from here. As you can see on the 4-hour time frame, we have these lower lows coming in on Ethereum, followed by higher highs on RSI. On the 4-hour, this looks really good for a reversal beginning to form. Sunday, we are getting this pump up, or sorry, Saturday. However, weekend price action usually just kind of comes up and closes right back around where it opened, around the mean, before the actual move comes out. So if we get some sort of bottom and reclose above this ascending trend line, that's where we broke down from the symmetrical triangle. If we get back above that on the 4-hour, I would say that this formation is the reversal, and we are then heading to our altcoin season where we can have those expected price projection targets. So definitely a lot of excitement in the news. make sure you keep your sanity, make sure you keep your head on a level, and don't get caught up in all this pump and dump craze. Essentially, if you're just buying Trump tweets, you're going to get annihilated. So that's why we look at the chart. That's why we look at such things as RSI, as the BBWP, to see volatility expansion, to see when these bottoms actually form, so that we can get the safest entry for a long and time the reversal, rather than just blindly longing it and getting annihilated by larger money in play trying to take our hard-earned money. So that is all I am going to discuss for Ethereum. I hope you found this content valuable. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. It really helps me produce future content and videos for you guys. Thanks for sticking around. I'm Crypto Neil. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend.